So today I'm going to do something a little crazy, and I'm going to put TPMS sensors into wheels which don't already have TPMS sensors. I just got these wheels as a slight upgrade for my CRV because I was running with the ugly steel wheels, and I got sick of those. And I didn't put a lot of money into the car, but just a little bit to make it nicer. So I picked up these wheels very inexpensively. They didn't have TPMS, and rather than drive around with the light on all the time or put a piece of tape over it, I said, you know what? I'm going to transfer the TPMS sensors from my old wheels to these wheels. And I'll talk briefly about how I got those out as I'm adding them to this car. These are the sensors that came out. They're made by Continental. And since I'm reusing them, I got a kit to replace the necessary seals, the valve core, etc. You take a look at what's actually in there. There's a locking mechanism, valve cap, that's fine, a washer, a new valve core, which is nice, and right there is the actual, or an actual sort of a seat for the seal, which goes inside. I've added that hardware to this one to get it ready to go, and you can see there's the plate where the washer sits or the seal sits, and there's a rubber seal, and then the lock, and then the cap. So let's go ahead and figure this out. Right, so I have the wheel off that I want to put the TPMS sensor in, and it is here underneath the car. So you might be wondering, what the hell are you doing with the wheel under the car? Well, thanks to Repair Geek, I realized that the hardest thing to do in this job is to break the bead of the tire. So he suggested getting a scissor jack, in my case two, and we're going to put the scissor jack top of the tire underneath the car, crank up the scissor jack, push down on the tire, and break the bead. And when the bead's broken, that will give us access to where to put this TPMS sensor. So I'm going to get set up for that, and I'll be right back. The first step, if it wasn't obvious, is to get rid of the air in the tire, and the quickest way to do that is to use your tire tool and extract the valve core. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Valve core is out, so you can hear the tire howling away. It's amazing how much air gets in there. Well, not really. It's sort of like there's some dirt spot. Wait for this tire to empty, and while that's happening, I'll position my scissor jack. All right, here we are with the scissor jack set up. That side and that side. I didn't mention before, but of course that valve stem is going to have to come out. We'll do that when we've broken the bead. And to help break the bead, just sell some soapy water, or someone I know seems to call it soapy water, and go all the way around the bead. This will definitely help improve your odds of breaking it. Well, maybe slightly, but it's definitely more useful when you go to reseat the tire. If it's slippery, it'll come up much more easily and recreate the bead. That's not the right words, but you know what I'm talking about. All right, I'm going to brake here, and I'm going to slowly start jacking down the tire left and right. You don't really have to go too slowly. I'm just kind of kidding you. But definitely put some on the left and put some on the right to try to keep it balanced out as much as possible. And when it does break, it's going to make a loud sort of bang. Don't be alarmed. It's fine. You probably haven't broken your car. If you have, I assume no liability. This video for educational or entertainment purposes only. All right, amazing. I've cranked them up on both sides, and you can see that bead there. It's clearly broken. You can see way down the inside of the tire, and the same over this side, not as dramatic. So, as previously threatened, what I want to do now is get that valve stem out. I'm just going to pull it straight out from the bottom. To make it easier to get that valve stem out, I went and grabbed this clip removal tool that I just recently got. It's really useful for pulling those plastic clips out of bodywork and motorcycle fairings and that sort of stuff. So it shouldn't be too much of a challenge to take this, grab it on the underside of that valve stem, wherever it is. There she is, and pull it out, and I'll do that off camera. There, so look, with a combination of that trim tool and some needle nose pliers, I got the sucker out. This is going straight in the garbage, so I don't care what it looks like. If it's causing you any grief, you could always take like an Omni tool and cut off the end of the rubber thing, just don't lose it inside the tire, and then pull the rest out from the front. Either way, I got it out. I'm gonna grab a rag and clean up that hole and clean up the mounting surface underneath, which you can't really see, but it's there. And then I'll get the new TPMS in there. Right, so I got it cleaned up as much as I think I need to. I got the sensor to put in here. I should have mentioned earlier, I'll mention it now, is that if you want to remove the existing sensors from your wheel, obviously if it hasn't done on you, this is how you do it too. And this is what I did with my original wheels. Broke the beads with the scissor jacks, reached in and pulled this guy out, and then I used that service kit that I showed you earlier, which gives the new hardware on the sensor. I just got the cap on here now, which I don't need, and the lock that goes on the outside, and this is what goes on the inside. So really all you have to do is put it in place, and I'm going to go off camera because I need two hands. Okay, so I got her in. Hopefully you can see that I'm holding it there. The light might be bad. And now we just got to put the washer that was on it originally, and then the locking nut. I'll be right back. So there it is. It's in. I've got her finger tight for now. And looked up the specs on the Continental TPMS sensor, and it's calling for 35 inch-pounds. So this is pretty important. You don't want it to leak. You don't want to break it. Grab your torque wrench measured in pounds, inch-pounds, set it to 35, and go for it. Listen carefully for the click. You don't want to pull too much. So that seems to be successfully done. It doesn't look broken. My torque wrench is clicking. So now what I want to do is I'm going to undo the scissor jacks and then reset the bead on this tire, and we'll see how that goes. So this is what the poor thing came, actually, did you just hear that thunk? Anyways, that was the tire just straightening out. Where I did the work around here, it came back really well. All that's going to need is some air, and then it's still a little depressed in this area. So what I'm going to do is I'll put the soapy water around the whole edge, and then I'll hook up my inflator, and we'll see what happens. All right, we're back. I got the inflator hooked up to the car battery. That's good to go. Pressure set to 32. As promised, I'm going to put the soapy water on it, just so it slides a bit nicer. And let's activate. And if I can find the switch, activating the auto. And we'll see what happens. I'm really interested how this comes up over here where there's a gap. Mentioned over here that was looking all right before. So this looks like it might need a little help. So what I'm going to do is lift it up on the edge, zoom out, and I'll just manipulate the thing. I'm going to pause here while I continue to manipulate. Right, so I ended up putting the tire on its edge and dropping it a couple times, and before I knew it, the bead reconnected with a loud pop, and now she's taking air. As we can see, well, that's pretty funny when you do put the camera on that. It's one of the tricks of digital cameras, I guess. Anyway, the pressure's coming up. When that gets to max, I'll spray some soapy water all around the bead and on the valve and make sure it's not leaking. Okay, it's up to pressure, 32 psi. Got my soapy water. I'll spray some right around the valve. Zoom in. It's looking pretty good. I'm going to go all the way around the bead with it. This is also a good opportunity to clean your wheels, I guess, since you're covered with soapy water. Now let's take a look. Now, do we see anything? It's looking pretty good. I don't see any telltale bubbling away. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to call this job complete. TPMS sensor transferred. And the only other couple steps are adding some weight to this wheel, because the sensor, where there wasn't one before, has some weight. And if we don't put some weight on it, the wheel will be able to balance. Let's do that next. So a couple more things about wheel balancing. As you notice, I didn't take the tire off the wheel entirely. So the original balance that was established is still valid. However, because there's now a sensor where there was no sensor before, that's going to throw off the overall balance of the tire, of the wheel, and that has to be adjusted. So this is actually pretty easy and you're going to enjoy it, no doubt. You can see the sensor is there because that's where the valve stem is, and it's on the outside of the wheel. All you have to do is go directly over, which in this case is at this spoke. And because that weight is at the front of the wheel, I'm going to put some weight at the back of the wheel. You can see there's already a substantial number of weights down there at the front. I'm going to put it back here because it counterbalances the weight at the front. So I'm going to clean up that surface with a variety of tools, such as the Ryobi compact drill with wire cleaner adapter, and I'll probably spray some brake cleaner on it to give a final cleaning and wipe it all up. So let's take a look at the result when I'm done. Right, so I'm in the shadow, or I'm causing a shadow, but as I hope you can see, that's quite a bit cleaner now. So I'm just going to stick them here. I guess I should come back a little bit more. Let's do that. Right, so that's it. I've got 2 1/4-inch weights on there for a total of 1/2 ounce. And I guess that comes out to 14 grams, which is a measurement I should be using since I'm Canadian. Anyways, that's all there is to it. Got the sensor in there, got the weights on. I can put this wheel on, 1 mold, and then 3 more to go. When that's done, I can program the computer with these new sensors. All right, so I've got all 4 wheels with the sensors in, mounted on the car. So far, so good. Now it's time to get rid of that nasty TPMS light, because of course the car expected TPMS sensors, didn't have any, so it threw that fault. Got my very useful Maxi TPMS from Autel. I'm gonna go ahead and do a relearn process on it. Honda CR-V 2013 and position relearn, and it's an OBD relearn. I'm going to be hooking that up to the computer, so let's get started on that. Clear the previous data from the tool. Sure, this is just telling me how to do it, and now I'm going to go around to the car and read in the sensor. So it's telling me to start with the top left. So let's go ahead and do that. And it reads it, and now it's going to want me to do the front right. So I'll just continue going around doing that. 32.9 pressure on the front right. That's looking pretty good. 30.7 there. That's not as good. I'll have to check into that. It's cold because it's in the shade. Hopefully I don't have a leak. This one's 31.2. That's not too bad. I'm going to have to top these up all to 32, which is spec, and watch for leaks. Might have to reseal the beads. Here we go with the last one. Now please connect OBD, turn ignition on. Let's see if I can do that one-handed, and I won't be able to, so I'll be right back. All right, and I'm back. So it says I've got it connected, got the ignition on. Let's go ahead. Communicating with the vehicle. Please wait. I am waiting. Got some activity on the dash. That low pressure indicator is going. That's hopefully fine. Now it's flashing. Oh, writing sensor ID to ECU. That's what I want, all right. Still got the flashing on the dash. Probably okay. Write ID successful. Proceed with the following steps until OBD relearn successful. I don't think there really is anything. Communicating with the vehicle. OBD relearn successful. Awesome. And there's it telling me all 4 are registered, and I do have a light on the dash. Probably that will go away when I turn the car off and on or take it for a test drive. It shouldn't be flashing. If there is a low one, which that front light is a little bit low, but probably not enough to throw a fault, it wouldn't be flashing. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the car off and on. And I'll unplug the diagnostic from under the dash. Let's turn her back on. And she's still flashing. So I'm gonna go for a quick test drive and see if that goes away. All right, went on about a 2-minute ride and the light went away. So everything functioning normally, TPMS sensors, and my new wheels, balanced. That's the other thing. I took it up to appropriate highway speeds and no balance issues at all, smooth as silk. Very happy how it turned out. Thanks to Repair Geek for the idea on how to break the bead on the tires, and we'll see you next time.